Welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, Chow, and today's episode is another exciting episode where I get to go back into the past and look at the pictures. Today's topic is going to be San Diego Comic Con 2004. Okay, now I've just recently met up with one of my friends that were on the trip, and we discussed some of the things and some of the memories that we had on that in that trip. And so I wasn't not going to be able to use too much of the audio that was used in the hub because just we were in a restaurant and I was just using it as to sort of take notes and that kind of stuff and physical reminders of stuff. So can't use too much of that for the interview or anything like that. But it gives me an indication. I did remember that we did trade our cameras and all the different pictures and stuff that was in the cameras, so that we're able to do some of that. So I'll show you some of that kind of stuff in this particular video. All right. So again, before we begin, don't forget to go down below, click like and click subscribe. But about 60% of you are already subscribed, and I really appreciate that. And again, hopefully the rest of you, I hope I've earned your subscription, and you go hit that red button, subscribe, and also maybe click that notification bell, because obviously YouTube is starting to get better on recommending my videos now. But for the mass majority, you won't know when I release videos until you get that notification ring. All right, so go ahead and do that. Anyway, so the year is 2004, and this is one of the times that we got to go down to San Diego for a trip down to the Comic Con. And this year, I knew I had from the previous year bought the tickets to go to San Diego Comic Con. So that's definitely from 2003. I definitely knew that I wanted to come back for 2004. Now I knew that it was going to be sort of a last moment. I didn't have the same people that was going on, and and so we decided, oh, look, let's grab gather some friends, and then just sort of we'll go down together. Okay. And so anyway, I got some pictures and I got a little bit of audio, and I'll go over some of the stories that will go there, and I'll explain some of them as that. And I think there's probably enough for a couple episodes here of some of the material that I got. So we'll go back a little in the past and see what it was like to go to San Diego Comic Con during the height of anime, the anime boom, shall we say. All right. So let's begin. One of the things I remember is that I met you through our mutual friend Harry, and I remember one of the things that I first borrowed off of you was you gave me a CD spindle full of all these Korean videos and that kind of stuff, and I thought it was really, really strange and a really kind of a rather random collection, because it had a whole bunch of videos of like TV cuts off of Korean TV, obviously a lot of music videos of a lot of those very popular sort of all girl Korean bands, that kind of stuff, like obviously music videos, but a lot of videos from like SES, Finkel, things like that, Kikaru Tada, things like that. I think you some of the Yumi Hamazaki's, which is just thrown in there as well. But it was really an interesting collection of stuff. It wasn't so much the videos themselves that were really strange. The things that I thought was really interesting about them is all the varied formats that you had. Because you had stuff that was in like Real Player, and you had DivX, and the Audio AVI, and then and all these really strange. I think like 3GP was another one, and all these really strange formats. And can you sort of explain how you got some of those things and that kind of stuff? Because we don't use those formats anymore. So maybe you can kind of elaborate on that a bit further.
Where I got my Korean videos was super obscure. So like basically I got them. I was on like a car forum, like Vancouver, like RevScene. It's like a car forum, but it had like sub forums for like media and everything like that. So there was a subthread on like K-pop and everything like that. So everyone like met on IRC to share videos and everything like that. So a lot of those videos that I sent to you and everything, they're all from IRC, like that's peer sharing, like direct peer to peer. like downloading.
Well, back then that was the thing, right?
No.
LimeWire, such,
Yeah.
Napster, blah blah
No.
blah, whatever. Yeah.
And then like I also
Well,
like
we got all shut down, but
Yeah.
but yeah, that was the thing. I
I'm
told you what my Napster story, eh?
No.
Okay, so the time was basically when I was just it was taking university courses and that kind of stuff at UBC, and they had, like the main, big mainframe computer type of thing for all the various computer science courses, but they also had, like PC labs available, which just were like, they had a Mac lab, which mostly were like Mac SEs and Mac Classics and that kind of stuff, all kind of hooked up into a room and networked and all that kind of stuff. They also had these PCs hooked up onto the network, onto the quote the internet at that time, and so again, these big file sharing things, especially for like MP3s and that kind of stuff for music, right, was the really big thing. And these of the king of them all at this time was Napster. Now, I remember what had happened is that they were battling with the RIA and all that kind of stuff, and they finally got a stop and desist order so that Napster was going to get shut down or changed in some way. And that was gonna be like in February or something when this is all gonna go down. So, um, you know, at this time, most of the stuff that I had, and I was one of these kids that grew up. I grew up in the MTV era, and a lot of things I did at that time was basically, um, I probably like most kids, I used to listen to the radio and all that kind of stuff. And my favorite thing I had was this, Radio Shack tape recorder, which basically had the radio and all these inputs and that kind of stuff, which allowed me to hook up to my stereo, allowed to hook up to my VCR and things like that to record sounds and that kind of stuff. Because virtually all my music at that time was just stuff that I listened to the radio or listen to much music or MTV, and then I knew when the song was gonna come up, and when it came up, I'd press record on the tape recorder, and I'd record chunks and pieces of music and that kind of stuff. And so I had probably at this time probably like 300 audio cassettes of like everything I recorded when I was like from like a kid all the way until I got to university, right? So I've got stuff that was recorded off TV, TV, I did things like record TV opening theme songs right off the TV. Um, of course, tapes and records, of course, but also just when the song just came over the radio or the song came off much music, I'd record it using the little tape recorder. So, this Napster era sort of came in, and I had this ability to find and try to maybe make all the stuff more digital, right? And so one of these things that I did is I had all sort of directory listings and that kind of stuff for all my tapes and that kind of stuff. So some 300 plus tapes. I had like very very precise tape listings of where all the songs were and what the songs were at that time, right? So what I did is during the Christmas break, there wasn't very many people at the campus, right? I mean, most of the courses have pretty much finished unless it was like a multi-semester course, or a lot of people were on Christmas break, just trying to finish off their assignments and that kind of stuff and that kind of stuff and whatnot. But the problem is that usually during Christmas no one bothers. They'll usually wait until the new year before they try to finish off their assignments, right? So the computer labs were pretty empty, especially at night. So I remember I'd be there, and I think I spent like 2 nights and like run a huge chunk of a morning, and I sat there using the terminals, and what I'd do is like like the room would be like next to empty, like there's no one there, right? And what I'd do is that there's a row of a desk row full of like computers. There's probably like 10 or so in a row, and what we do is you'd go to to one computer, you load up the Napster software. Yeah, I type in the name of a song. I begin downloading it off of that computer. Go to the next computer, I load up Napster, and then pick a different song and load up there, and then go all the way down the row until like the entire row of computers were, downloading stuff off of Napster. And this is like, so most people out there with dial-up connection, you know, would only have a 56K modem, or in a lot of cases they didn't even have 56K, right? They'd be only like some really bad people would only be like 2400 baud or something like that, and a lot of people would be out like 19.6 or something like that. But it's very, very slow download speeds. But fortunately MP3s are pretty small. But I'm here using the university connection, right? So I'm like equivalent of probably like broadband speed at this time in the late 1980s. This is like amazing, right? So I'd spend literally all night basically, on a rolling chair, just kind of, going to this computer, checking this one. Okay, this one's good. Okay, go to the next one. Okay, this one's okay. Go to the next one. Okay, this one's finished. So, change the file name. Get it downloading something else, and just keep doing all that. And yeah, I probably got all the missing gaps and that kind of stuff, and all the MP3s for like virtually all the songs I had on some well over 200 tapes worth of stuff that I had. And of course, Napster got totally shut down and changed, how it was when basically when Twitter came out. But yeah, but that's what we did when we were like, college, university kids at that time. Really, we just, we had no mentality. Of course, now YouTube has totally changed all that, and that makes everything that I did was pretty much irrelevant. But it was just interesting that he mentions that they did all this IRC trading and that kind of stuff. That's really pretty much the same kind of concept as you meet with other people that have like things or like interests, and then they have these different videos from wherever format they got them from hell knows where and hell knows who, but they exchanged them over this IRC network. Much the same way that we exchanged things using, for example, Napster and the network that was created. It was a different time. Definitely was a different time.
After Dragon Ball, my buddy lent me his Yu Yu Hakusho.
Oh yeah, Yu Hakusho.
Yeah. I watched the tournament arc. That was quite good. And then what else did he lend me? He lent me Street Fighter 2V. Yeah. Victory, yeah. That was actually really good. He didn't have the full everything, but we had quite a bit, so I got those things off him. Yeah, that was a pretty good series.
I think at that time, everyone was hungry for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because at that time, fighting games, especially the 3D ones,
were
really getting in the big focus.
Oh yeah.
The Street Fighter 2, franchise slash.
You had a PS1.
Yeah.
You had a PS1 on your store.
But there's that. There's
and Virtua Fighter.
Yeah. Right?
And Toshinden.
Yeah, Toshinden.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive.
Oh yeah, Dead or Alive. Yeah.
Tekken. What did you think of the Dragon Ball Z fighting games? Bukoden and.
I own, for me, I only played the ones on Super Nintendo.
So the earlier ones with them, yeah.
And the early ones. I played 1, 2, and 3 because my buddy back then, one of my good friends, back then he had that Hong Kong copier thing. So
Game Doctor, right?
Yeah, the Game Doctor thing
exactly.
for Super Nintendo. So we'd have Dragon Ball on discs and everything like that. Because Super Famicom cartridges, you couldn't put them into the Super Nintendo because of some sort of notch. You had to
there's 2 notches.
Yeah, there's 2 notches.
On the US version.
Yeah. So also they were extremely expensive. They were $170 or something to import from Japan. So none of that stuff. So I played 1, 2, and 3. They were kind of jank because they was just kind of jank because the framework was really janky. I didn't play any of the later ones, even the modern Dragon Ball ones I haven't played, but I just remember the Super Nintendo ones were, looking back at it, they tried to recreate the Dragon Ball fights as realistically as they could because they had the split screen and everything like that, and one would throw a beam and everything like that. And Dragon Ball fights in anime, they're always very a lot of flying, a lot of speed and everything like that. So I can see why they made it a split screen sort of thing like that. And when the players came together, it'd be one screen instead of split screen. but yeah, it wasn't very polished, but it was still fun using like
It was
your favorite
that's what
characters.
most people say about it. It was it's a fun play, but the problem is that at the time there were so many better fighting
Yes,
engines.
yeah,
Because as you know, when Dragon Ball 1, 2, and 3 came out, Super Nintendo already had some of the best fighting games
Yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
yeah.
Street Fighter,
Two Turbo, yeah.
Mortal Kombat,
Yeah.
and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Which are way better fighting engines.
Yeah, correct. I fully agree.
And so and so a lot of people played with those ones. And even when the PlayStation came out, when they came out with Dragon Ball Z, Bukaiden or whatever stuff, but at that time they already came out with like
Other Street Fighter games,
more Street Fighter, better Street Fighter games. They had all the Street Fighter versus Marvel,
those
X-Men,
ones.
whatever thing.
The animation's a bit better, better frames, more balance, and everything.
Yeah. And of course all the multitude of 3D fighting games like Dead or Alive, Tekken, So as a fighting game, it never could live up to those ones.
Yeah,
But still, as a franchise, it was all right.
Yeah, I think for us being fans of the show, being able to use like Goku and like also being able to use the bad guys, like you're using like Cell and everything like that, using Broly and everything like that. That was just kind of cool to be able to, because like it still had the voice clips of when you did the super like Final Flash, like Kamehameha. So then it was like even like the games having that was kind of cool to be able to like do that. Yeah.
So on the topic of video games, I know that one of the topics that was brought up in our last interview was when you were playing
Street Fighter.
Now, I know that a lot of people on the cast are quote gamers, right? A notable level higher in skill than the average person, right? So can you just sort of refresh everyone on sort of what happened in San Diego and kind of flesh it out a little bit so that people can kind of get the experience sort of.
So, one of my main points to go to San Diego Comic-Con with you guys was I knew that Udon would be there, and they would have
Studio Udon, right?
Yeah. Then they were launching their Street Fighter comic, which was like really cool and new and everything like that. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't know how big their booth would be, but like they were launching their comic, and like they would have the artists there. And once I got there, what they had was you could have like your comic and the cover was blank, and the artists you could ask who they were, and they would draw like artwork for you. And it was just amazing. I got like a whole bunch of them done by the main artist. But beside the booth, there was like a Street Fighter 3 machine, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, released in 1999. It wasn't really popular when it first came out into the arcade, but like because it was too hard, it was very challenging, and it just wasn't very popular. But me and my friends here in Vancouver, we spent a lot of time playing it, and we got like quite good. Not on an international level, but we got pretty good. We played like quite often. We had a couple of tournaments locally here in Burnaby and in Vancouver. Among my friends, I would probably be near the bottom third. Not to say that I was bad. It's just that they were very, very, very good. It was one of the reasons why me and my brother actually bought the Dreamcast, because at that time, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike was only released on Dreamcast. It wasn't. It was only released later on PlayStation 2 after. Yeah. So like that's one of the reasons why me and my brother every single pretty much almost every other day we would be playing that, like fighting each other and everything. And then I'd be fighting like my other friends that were like noticeably better than me. So I knew the ins and outs of like most of the characters. So the machine was there, and to kill time, I'd be like playing. So I think it was like the first day I saw the machine, it was pretty cool. Played a couple and then I left because Harry wanted to see like other stuff. I forgot exactly what happened, I think
I think he's more interested in getting in line for the Galactus.
yeah, he was in line for something, so I had a bunch of time to kill because I was wanting to get artwork done by Udon and everything like that. So I just started playing. I started playing like Street Fighter 3, and then it's like the regular, winner stays, loser leaves, and everything like that. So I was playing using like my main character, like Alex. He's kind of like he's not really high ranked character, but like I played him a lot. He was like my main, and I would be like beating people. Like first I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until like I got like 10 odd wins in a row, and like no one could beat me. And then like people kind of started like circling around and wanting to beat me, and they couldn't beat me. Like I like one guy was pretty close. He took one round off me, and he got me to the last round, got me down to like half life. Still couldn't beat me. And then like afterwards, became like I was there for a freaking long time. Then became like 20 wins, then like 30 wins, and I think it got up to it was either 36 or 38 wins, and then like the Udon guys like were like looking at me, giving me like really dirty looks and everything like that, and no one could beat me, and I already got like everything all signed and everything, and I think that I was kind of like having like a bad presence there because I was just like making people like upset because I was just winning, and like the machine just said like it was either 36 or 38 wins, and I just like left, and then I looked for Harry, and that was it. Yeah.
All right. I hope you had that kind of fun and a little blast from the past. And don't forget, I'll be doing more kind of episodes where I bring out some pictures and more merchandise and collectible stuff from that past era. Okay. So until next time, see you again.